Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all.
Best movie robot.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Best movie robot. That was some good roboting, I have to say.
Hal, this is very exciting. Here's why I'm excited about this.
Yes.
When we do an episode of We Got This with Mark and Hal, we sometimes do things that are outside of the purview of our guests. Mm-hmm. That is not what we're doing today.
Right.
That happens. But today, not only do we have a guest who very much knows his stuff that he is talking about with this, but in many of the lists I encountered online in researching this topic, our guest today is on many of these lists as one of cinema's great robots. And I'm so delighted that he is back. It's our friend Scott Adsit. Hello, sir.
Hello,
Scott.
Hello to both of you.
Welcome. This is fun. You wanted to do this. You were excited to do this.
Well, I had such a good time. We did it at a convention in Atlanta or somewhere.
Yes.
And I had such a good time just getting up there. We were talking about the best superhero power.
Mm-hmm.
And we had
came in hot.
We had a really good adult discussion about superheroes and the things they can do.
Yes. And you know your stuff. You're a huge comic book fan. We were talking before we recorded about everything from John Byrne to the Phantom edit of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So you know your stuff. Like, do you have a special affinity outside of having portrayed one of the iconic movie robots just with movie robots in general?
I think I probably was aware of them growing up, but there was never anything that was really like stood out as an amazing thing until Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When I remember I was in like 5th grade or something, and my my babysitter had seen Star Wars, and she was a good deal older than me, and she said, "So there's nobody in those things, right? They're real robots, right?" Talking about 3PO.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and I was whatever I was, 11. I said, "No, there's an actor in there." But she was convinced. That's pretty remarkable.
And she took that to her grave.
Wait till she sees Kenny Baker pop out of the little R2-D2.
Yeah. She still doesn't know. She's not sure. So we each came with a list of finalists. We all have a bunch of alternates. I have one big question, and it's not a rule I have. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. If a robot first appeared in another medium and then came to film, they're still a movie robot. They just have to have appeared on film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think that's fair.
Well, I think we're not counting TV, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's too many.
Yeah, as long as they made a movie of that particular IP, I think we're okay.
Oh, so Data, who is an android, is a type of robot. We all agree on that. That is a robot that is made to appear human, so androids would count here. So Data would count. He would qualify for both TV and movie robot.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't need to qualify for TV, though, for our purposes.
Yes, for that. Yeah, but I mean, if we came back and did TV robot at some point, if you decided you wanted to complete the robot
duology,
yeah,
the trilogy would be book robots too. That would be when we pull out "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?"
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that will be another topic for an episode. Also, we'll determine that once and for all. Okay, so then. Oh, that makes it a little tougher. I might have to switch. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to, you know what? Here's the weird thing when we do this, Scott, we have 5 things, is I get into the chess game of what can I pick? I feel like there's some that everyone will have on their list.
Sure.
And so I try to throw some in that aren't in there, but what we'll do is we'll throw all these out and then we'll start systematically eliminating them once they're all there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better to put them all out there and then talk about honorable mentions, because I may have some here that are honorable that other people may have on their 5. What do you think of that, Mark?
I think that's great. However we want to get our lists out there, I think the first thing we need to establish, though, is what makes a good movie robot.
Yeah.
I love that you guys have these rules that you're setting for yourself to please the meticulous nerds out there.
Listen.
Need regiments and opinions and categories.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Our favorite holiday movie is Actually. And we watch it every year. We all get together. We sit around and watch Actually. And then we point out the things that are wrong with it. Yeah, that's how this goes.
Yeah.
Scott, what do you think makes a good movie robot?
I think it's good that if you believe that they are a machine, rather than just a stand-in for a character that they wanted to make interesting by making him non-human. I think if it's a robot that is through and through a robot and just has really good programming, like Data, who can emote, but he's still at the heart, he's a robot and corruptible and, susceptible to reprogramming, stuff like that. I like that. And I like, at the same time, those characters can touch your heart, which is really important too, is you've got to care for them. And also, it's good when they've got a bit of an arc, which is kind of counterproductive to what I just said. But I think if you can see it grow a little bit, then I think you got something.
But they're still a robot after they have found their humanity. Yes?
Yeah.
Well, and it's the ability to be reprogrammed that makes it so fragile. So you could have growth through an arc, and then you could metaphorically spill a glass of water on them and it all resets. And you as an audience member get so invested in it that takes your breath away. Like, that could all be lost very easily because you remember they are a robot. I think also one thing I was looking at is how essential are they to the film? Could you, for example, cut them out of the movie and it still sort of functions the same way? So I tried to look at like their importance to the plot.
Yeah, I see that, but I think you can have a great character who is not essential too, who you just look forward to seeing because the rest of the film might not be as good as that character.
Yeah.
Yep. You're talking about Bubo from Clash of the Titans.
One of the top 3 great robot owls.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is a great robot owl. He's very TikTok of Oz, too, from the, if we're going with just our strictly steampunk mechanical robots. We can jump back to the robot who somehow used his mustache to talk. Did not have a mouth, just his mustache flapping back and forth was the way that he made words. Old TikTok of Oz. Yeah, I think that's a good list. Like, you have to believe they're a machine. They touch your heart. They're part of the story. They have an arc. I think also, for me, the best ones are ones that are analogous in some way to, or are a stand-in in some way for all of technology. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a robot, in looking at this, it feels like a robot represents the future and represents technology and different ways of looking at the future. So in picking mine, I tried to get different examples of robots that fit different examples of futures. Sorry, you were going to say something?
No, we're done. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Yeah. We're done. So this was a great episode. We solved nothing.
Great job.
Come at us next week, though. Now, all right. Should we just jump right in? How do you want to do this, Hal?
Let's start with our guest. Why don't you reveal your first robot and tell us why you picked them?
Well, in no particular order. I'm going to say this one first. I like the movie I Am Mother.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this?
I don't know. I don't know. I Am Mother.
Okay, so it's post-apocalyptic, and there's a robot AI raising a daughter, a human daughter, in a bunker, and she says, the character of Mother, who's the robot, is a good mother, and tells her you can't go outside, it's too dangerous and everything, and also she may have said there's no other people anymore, everything's gone, and then someone arrives at the bunker. Oh, and that's when Act 2 starts. And it's a great, it's a very emotional story about a AI who is essentially a robot trying to fulfill her programming, but also deal with its own sense of jealousy.
Oh.
It's a beautiful film.
When did this movie come out?
I don't know, like 5 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And
it's interesting,
the robot
like
is Mother? That's the
name. Yeah, the name of the film is I Am Mother, and the character is Mother.
Okay. Mother. Are you writing this down, Mark?
The character is called Mother. Yes,
yeah.
I'm writing this down.
I mean, are you writing down a list of movies that I can watch later? Because
yes, I'm just writing down a list of movies you can watch later.
Great.
Yeah, it's just the movie Rubber over and over again, but I've now added Mother to that list.
Oh, good. They almost rhyme. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Rubber Baby, Mother robots.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a great example of an arc, and it definitely stems from them these robots that are fighting their programming. that are both honoring and sort of trying to break out of their programming. I always think that's a fun kind of trope of robots in film.
That's also the reason HAL 9000 went crazy. That's what Arthur C. Clarke said in the sequel. It's always a big mystery of why HAL went crazy. Mm-hmm. And the answer is he was given conflicting programming, which is what makes all of us go crazy.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's interesting, too, that the first human emotion that this robot encounters in so many of the movies, the first emotion that they encounter is, joy or love or dancing or, something that brings joy to them. The idea that the first emotion you feel is jealousy. So that's like, oh, interesting. I don't know this. I don't recognize this. I feel like there's always got to be some starting point where the AI veers off of its programming or the robot veers off of its programming. Yeah. Jealousy is an interesting one. Who plays the robot mother in this? Oh, is this Hilary Swank? No, Rose Byrne?
She's at Rose Byrne, yeah.
Rose Byrne, gotcha. Oh. Okay. All right. This is one that I don't know, but this is, I'm adding this to the list of movies I need to see.
Yeah. Sounds great.
I'm Mother.
Mark, what do you have?
I'm going to start with my first genre of the most optimistic version, I think, of future technology via robot. And that is, we can teach technology how to love, right? I just mentioned it a moment ago with this. I'm going to go with one that, and I know it's going to sound like a cliche, and maybe it's just 80s nostalgia for me.
Oh, God.
But yeah. And here's why I'm going with it, Scott. And it has nothing to do with the plot or the storytelling or the quips that Johnny Five says throughout two movies when voiced by the same actor. Do I think Wall-E did robots that look like that better and more emotively? Yes. Wall-E is basically just a tiny version of number 5. But I think for me, the reason I wanted to pick this one in my example of that type of robot is that it was practical. There's something really cool about using actual practical robotics, because you can make a transformer turn into a car and beat up kaiju-sized other robots. But to use a real robot and have it bake a cake, like there's something kind of fun and practical and analog and, VHS about that I really love. Yeah, so that's my first one. You're both familiar, I'm sure, with the film Short Circuit. We know what I'm talking about here.
Sure. Need input, please.
No Disassemble.
I actually had him on my list. What I have is I'm using my alternates. If somebody mentions one I have, I'm removing it and replacing it. And that is the first one I've had to remove and replace.
Hey. There you go.
Yeah. That's a great choice.
But he's also like, I haven't seen the film in a long time, and I know that I have a certain animosity toward it, but I don't remember why.
Because Fisher Stevens is doing a very racist Indian character.
Yeah.
And also he's really like 80s level inappropriate. This is going to take him off of the list eventually. He is 80s level inappropriate with Ali Sheedy in that movie, but Ali Sheedy seems to be into it. Like when they dance around to More Than a Woman to Me.
Yeah. Is that what he's going to tell the court?
Yeah. She was into it. No Disassemble.
It also has that like saccharine cuteness to the robot too. Like in thinking about this, I thought about batteries not included.
Oh, I love those guys. The rechargers or helpers. What are they called?
Yeah. And they're
great.
Better. They were very cute. Yeah. They had personalities and all that, but they didn't speak, which I think really helped them a lot.
Yep.
Right. Because if you could have heard what was going through their minds, they would have been canceled 5 minutes into that movie.
Why did I kill this old lady?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm having a hard time here.
The old drain our society. What are you saying?
Wow. Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Yeah.
Come here, Dickens 3.0.
The invasion
is say that here.
Yeah. All right. Well, you said Johnny Five.
Yeah.
I'll throw Wall-E out there.
Oh, I want to throw out, before you jump, I just want to throw one more thing in about Johnny Five. Come on, man. This is the only robot where they got, how much fun was it for the film's special effects crew to have 3 functioning robots that they have do 3 Stooges bits in wigs? They put wigs on the robots.
That's right.
And had them do Three Stooges bits as a distraction.
That is
First of all, the cinematic conceit of I'll distract them with a little show while the other good guys do important things is such a Bugs Bunny of a trope, and I love it.
I think that's a very low bar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
I
will
like
trip over Matt's
so many more movies by having a low bar. It's great.
It makes it easier. All right.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. How?
Yeah, Wall-E. First of all, that movie, I would think I was in tears before he even appeared on screen. It's just the visuals of such a beautifully made film, but he is a character, just melts your heart. What it means to be alone, and he is literally alone, and then him finding love, and how that changes him, and how he's been learning just from all these things that he's found, and sort of built this sort of he's built this sort of ideal that she fulfills, but she's not quite that ideal to start with. And then you can't help but fall in love with him. And then
he's aspirational too.
Yes, yes.
He is alone. He is completely without agency and company, and he still's an optimist.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a perfect film. I would put him up there amongst my favorite just film characters, period. And a great silent comedian. If you like Three Stooges bits done by Johnny's 5, 6, and 7, then you'll love the stuff that Wall-E pulls off. Just like brilliant animation. That's, of course, the gift of animation is they can do that, but the manner of expression he has, and they keep it within, they're really good at maintaining the physical reality of their objects. So with his lenses and lens covers and the way he moves, he's able to communicate pretty much every emotion you can imagine.
I wonder why the company felt the need to put eyebrows on him.
Well, Colin Farrell was doing the voice.
Yeah,
you never heard him doing it, but that they had to add the eyebrows so you
he
would
was
know.
drunk when he recorded.
Yeah. It's interesting, like that, because there are a few of these that are going to be, I think, on a few of our lists. They really fit that acting adage of going from point A to point B. That's not your job. That's your parameters. These are your narrow window. You've got to fill what's happening in there. And with not much body to do it with, are able to do really, really funny or really impressive or really heartfelt things just by moving a tiny little piece of them. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking of like Baymax. The way Baymax moves is in so many places is so subtle and so simple. And there's not much but 2 black dots with a line connecting them and an inflated body.
No eyebrows on him.
No, you didn't need eyebrows.
Didn't need eyebrows.
That's right. No eyebrows needed. Or like the Iron Giant when all he does is tilt his head a little. You know what I mean? Like living the economy of motion in a good robot is a really fun treat. To have a heartstring pulled or a laugh elicited with the tiniest moves.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Scott, what's your next movie robot?
Marvin, the paranoid android.
Oh, yeah.
So he appears in the film, but my Marvin is the TV version and the radio version.
Oh, yeah?
Alan Rickman played him in the movie. I don't think he's as good as the guy who did it.
Who did it in the radio and film or TV?
Oh, I used to know his name like my own. Scott Adsit.
Well.
Oh, your twin brother.
That's what I remember. I'll remember it later. But yeah, it's a great performance. It's so well written. This is from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And he's got a real personality, which is a selling point for the company that makes him. And he's just a really depressive, negative Eeyore of a person. And it's like he's separated from the main cast for a millennia, I think. And they run into him again, and he's been working in a car park, parking cars for that long. And one of them says, "Hey, Marvin, how you doing, kid?" And he goes, "Never better." "Oh, yeah? Still very bad, though."
Oh, he's great.
That's a great character.
It's a great character, and it's the idea that this company would, because that's the whole thing, is they want to make they have real human emotions.
Yeah.
And they're like real people.
Yes, some are too chipper and some are too depressive and some are too talkative, and it's just everything you hate about people they've put into these robots to make you feel like good people.
Well, and then he gets his hero moment in I'm assuming it's the same in the book. I only know the movie, but when he blasts he blasts an entire army with the same ennui that he has living inside him, and they just all roll over with an "I'm so depressed," thereby saving the entire cast.
That is, I think, only in the movie. Every iteration of the story is different, though.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and very purposefully. The radio progresses in a different way to get to the various tent poles of the story, and then it was different for the TV, and it was different for the book, and then it was different for, I think, the album, and then the movie. All different.
Oh, I don't like this, man. I only watch the movies so I don't have to read the books. Now you're telling me books are different than the movies are?
Oh, yeah, I mean, the best version of the whole thing is the radio. I think the film is the least good.
Yeah,
and the books are great.
Yeah,
it is nice to hear Alan Rickman's voice.
It was the radio play that came first. It was written as a radio piece, and then he adapted it into a book.
Really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Which is handy when you're writing, because then he's got all the voices of the characters in his head already.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier. And people are familiar with it, too. So you're adapting a work, and you can capture the spirit of it. Yeah, it's all much simpler. Better than the version of the Batman movie that I read, the 1980 name. The version that the book, which I read before the film came out, had a scene where Bruce Wayne puts on a ski mask and rides a horse through Gotham. Oh. And I couldn't have been more excited when he goes and visits Vicky Vale. I think is when is what leads into that sequence. I was like, oh, he's going to get on the horse, and then it didn't happen. I was very disappointed.
So you read the novelization before you saw the film?
I did.
See,
you didn't want to ruin the novelization.
Yeah, you were saying before we recorded, we were talking about the trailer to The Phantom Menace, and you covered up for it. You would not.
I cover up for everything that I know I'm going to see.
Oh, that's a great idea. Actually, I get excited for the trailers. Well, but that's a good idea.
I read an article in the Times, I think, New York Times, about the majority of Americans like to know how something ends before they go see it or read it. Because it is like they don't want to waste their time with something that is not in the end worth it, and they don't want to be surprised. They don't want to be surprised. They want to have the assurance of knowing where the story's going, without the stress of wondering how it's going to end.
Oh, that's weird.
That doesn't feel like storytelling.
I watch stuff. I don't want to know how stuff ends. I'm so excited for it. I get not impatient, but the excitement of Christmas Eve when you're going to bed. I'm like, oh, I just can't wait. Couldn't I open?
See, you're opening the presents.
Yes, I'm opening the presents. I want to open just one.
And then Christmas morning has no Batman riding a horse.
Yeah. You're telling me, buddy.
Well, I have good news for you, Hal.
Yeah,
I read the novelization of Batman Returns for a book report. That is true.
You did?
I did. That is true.
What did you get?
I got a C because she was like, you just watched the movie.
Is that true?
She's like, you wrote this well, but you just watched a movie. And the novelization of that did also have Bruce Wayne riding on a horse with a ski mask.
It did?
No, I'm kidding. I feel bad now. Just making that up. I know. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I know. It's terrible.
Again.
It's heartbreak.
Horse riding Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Indiana Jones riding a horse through the subways of New York.
I thought it was going to be I thought you were going to say the Batman Returns novelization was all horses.
Yeah. Oops, all horses.
Yeah. That I would read.
Oh, ridiculous.
A lot of grazing. All right, Mark, you're up.
All right. Now I'm going to keep in the positive genre of robots right now. And the next one I want to do is if they are a stand-in for technology, let's stay optimistic, guys. In this case, technology is just your friendly sidekick. Technology is helping you. Technology is programmed to help you, and technology is successfully going to help you, the human who is on a mission or the human who has a task to complete. There are a few great ones. Shout out to, you know what? I won't give a shout out yet because it could be on someone else's list. But the one that I think climbs to the top of this for me, hands down, no choice other than R2-D2. I think R2-D2 is at the top of the helper robot list for me. He doesn't look anthropomorphic. He doesn't look like a human. He doesn't speak human language, but he is integral to the plot. I don't know how much of an arc he has because he is always Team Rebellion from the beginning, but he is the Rebellion's best weapon against the Empire in all of the Star Wars movies. He is integral to every plot he is in. He's funny without using language. He's funny. He can do physical comedy without having arms and legs. So big ups to R2-D2.
Do you think Kenny Baker is buried in an R2 shaped coffin?
That
Not
would
by
be
choice.
amazing.
Or maybe just one of the props?
He died at a personal appearance, so they just threw it into a ditch. It was really sad. Like, he deserves better. I have a GoFundMe. I'll tell you about it afterwards.
And instead of burying it and digging it, they just kicked the little thing over, so it did that Tatooine fall over after.
Yeah.
I love how we all know the sound.
Yep,
It's
exactly.
iconic.
That tin can sound.
He's got to have R2-D2, not R.I.P. Kenny Baker. R2-D2's got to have PTSD because he never has his memory erased, so he remembers everything
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of weight to
1,000-yard stare on that little droid.
But then by the time Star Wars Episode 4 comes about, he's forgotten that he can fly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's that's the problem with
true.
making prequels. You can't give people superpowers in prequels that they don't have.
Yeah, they have to top the future, which is hard.
Yeah.
he has the robot version of bad hips, and that's why he can't do it anymore. He's like, I used to fly, kid. You wouldn't believe.
You've told us this story before.
Yeah.
Well, I have R2 on my list too, but it's also 3PO. I've got them as a unit.
Oh, okay.
I think they need each other to be successful. And when they separate them in the films, it's disappointing to me. It's like, oh, let's watch this Oliver Hardy movie.
Yeah.
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 Sure. Let's go see Costello. Yeah. I don't know, though, because I feel like that applies with C-3PO. I think without R2-D2, C-3PO is lost. Without C-3PO, R2-D2 is fine. His life is more enriched with C-3PO.
R2-D2 doesn't get bought by Owen Lars if it isn't for C-3PO. Because C-3PO is the
That's
one
true.
who suggests that he picks him up.
That's true. I think R2 needs 3PO because R2 is plucky and he needs something in contrast to that.
That's true.
R2's a hero and 3PO's a coward.
Yeah.
So you need that relief to see the difference.
Yeah.
That is true.
I guess I was thinking like plot-wise and as a droid, he doesn't need C-3PO, but you're right in that as storytelling, we need C-3PO to be with R2-D2.
Well, I also need him to understand R2 better, not verbally, but just as a character.
Yeah.
Because are all robots like R2? No.
That's true.
That's how we know that.
He's a special one. Did you guys ever read the Shakespeare-esque Star Wars plays? Do you remember this? Verily, A New Hope. Somebody went through and rewrote in the style of Shakespeare. I'm looking for it on my shelf right now. They rewrote the first Star Wars. I think they did the others as well, but the one that I read was what's that? In iambic pentameter, yeah. And frequently ending scenes, with sonnets or not sonnets or the 2-line rhyming stanzas that will frequently end an iambic pentameter scene, and lots of soliloquies, but soliloquies performed by R2-D2 when no one else is on the stage in English. Oh. Because R2-D2 speaks whenever anyone is around, it's all beeps and whistles. But as soon as R2-D2 is either by himself or steps out to do a soliloquy, they are beautiful. Methinks I may still have some hand yet in this rebellion kinds of tales. So all of those holes that we've imaginatively filled in over the decades, apparently so did William Shakespeare. And it is a lot of fun.
So it's kind of like Snoopy and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Yes. Exactly.
He won't sing supper time if any of the kids are around.
No, they would have fed him already.
Yeah, that dog is starving. Poor Snoopy.
My gosh.
He can fly.
I do love the song Supper
but he
Time.
can't feed himself.
Yeah.
That's his fatal flaw as a character.
Yeah. That's all I have to say about R2-D2.
Fair enough. And we have C-3PO in there as well.
And we have C-3PO in there as well now.
So I'll give one more and then we'll take a quick break. I'll stay in Star Wars. This is my most out there of all these. And that is...
Should we guess?
Yeah. You want to guess?
The mouse droid?
No, it's
Okay.
a good guess. This one has a name.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
R2D4?
No, I did R2D or R2D. Was it R2D4 or R4D4? The red.
I thought it was
that is
R2.
R2D4
Maybe I'm
or
wrong.
D5. Yeah,
R5D4.
or R5D4 or something like
That's
that.
it.
Yeah, I got that toy when I started collecting again, and that was that was the one I wanted as a kid but didn't have. No, this is. I think this droid is a freak. He has absolutely no arc at all, but in his brief screen time, he's memorable enough to me that he's one of the first impressions I think I ever tried to do.
Is it in the first trilogy?
It is in the first trilogy.
Is it a torture robot?
It is 99, the head
Wow.
of Jabba's torture department.
You'll serve nicely on the master's sail barge.
Like, this is the whole thing. He's got a kink for R2D.
You'll soon learn some respect.
Like, I want to know what he's doing when he's not having droids torn apart or burning their feet. Because he, for sure, is putting cigarettes out on probe droids. Like, I don't know what's going on, what 50 shades of gray is happening in his chambers, but that guy's a freak and I respect it.
Do you think it's a kink or do you think it's self-loathing as a droid? Do you think he's a self-loathing droid or do you think he's got a pain kink?
You mean, do I think that he hires another droid to like step on his head? And
No, I mean, like, has he been, has
like
he,
a gonk?
You treat me like a gonk.
Gonk.
Is he a closeted droid? Is he, no, I'm not a droid. Look how cruel I am to all these droids. I'm not like you.
I think he does.
Jabba likes me.
I don't even think it's that deep for him. I think he just loves dishing out pain. He doesn't care if he's giving it or getting it. And just that little mouth flap he's got, everything about him, I just find him fascinating. And he looks like he would snap apart if a stiff breeze came along.
I think we're learning more about you, Hal, than the robot.
I think so.
Are you calling me a pain pig? Is that what this is?
Hey, you just said
Am I 99?
you got that flap going.
I think Marvin and 99 might have been created by the same person. Like, well, we have to give them human traits. Why don't we give this one a crushing existential depression, and we'll give this one a masochistic kink.
I'll design this one. Let me design this one. I got ideas.
I already have sketches.
Well, how about what we learn in that scene too is that droids have pain responders.
Yeah, because when he's getting the feet burned. Yeah.
Does that mean that every time we see a droid, they can feel the pain that's being inflicted on them?
Oh, I didn't even want to think about that.
Is it just the bottom of their feet? Is that like Achilles? That's when they're made, they're held by the bottom of their feet?
What if it's just the bottom of their feet?
Seriously, you've only been working here for 4 days.
I made a.
This is the boardroom,
make them
sir.
more efficient. If the bottom of my feet if the bottom of their feet.
And he's screaming, but maybe he likes it. I wrote a book, and then he rides off on a horse wearing a ski mask.
Wait, is this the novelization of Batman?
I might reuse it. That's what he said. It's
when I was a child.
They based the vocalization of that on him. Now I have some ideas for you. You'll soon put my ideas in your film. Let's take a quick break.
Yeah. Let's go over who we've got before we go to the break. Right now, we are looking at Mother from I Am Mother, Johnny Five from Short Circuit and its sequel, Wall-E from Wall-E, C-3PO and R2-D2 from the Star Wars universe, number 99 as well from the Star Wars universe.
Letter D,
19.
9.
Not going to party like it's 9D9.
He's not going to win. I don't even know why I'm correcting you.
You know what?
Just for the
and Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide. That's who we've got going in right now. All right. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some more great robots.
I love it.
We'll be right back.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
If you like too many podcasts, you'll love Soundheap with John Luke Roberts. It's got clips from all your favourite podcasts, such as Diary of a Tiny CEO,
Leonard Sprague, tell me how you make your money.
I go to the beach
and I steal people's towels.
Remember armour.
Do you remember the trend of everyone whacking themselves on the head with hammers and mallets when they wanted to lose weight?
And Elty John's lobberly songs.
I'm here today with Kiki D. Hello, Kiki D.
Hello, Elton.
There's dozens of episodes to catch up on, and brand new episodes going out right now. So, if you want far, far, far too many podcasts, then look for Sound Heap on Maximum Fun. Boop boop.
All right, we're over 70 episodes into our show. Let's learn everything. So let's do a quick progress check. Have we learnt about quantum physics?
Yes, episode 59.
We haven't learned about the history of gossip yet, have we?
Yes, we have. Same episode, actually.
Have we talked to Tom Scott about his love of roller coasters?
Episode 64.
So how close are we to learning everything?
Bad news. We still haven't learned everything yet.
We're ruined!
No, it's good news as well. There is still a lot to learn.
Woo!
I'm Dr. Ella Hubber.
I'm regular Tom Lum.
I'm Caroline Roper, and on Let's Learn Everything, we learn about science and a bit of everything else too.
And although we haven't learned everything yet, I've got a pretty good feeling about this next episode.
Join us every other Thursday on Maximum Fun.
All right, so you threw out C-3PO, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, should we each throw one out real quick just to catch up?
Sure, we can throw one out real quick to catch up.
All
Who
right,
you got?
Go ahead. All right. I got one. In Alien, the whole reason everything goes screwy is because of a bad android, Ash, who's on a different mission than everybody else. And he wants to preserve the xenomorph for study. And so, of course, when Ripley, the sole survivor, along with her cat, is revived, she is inherently distrustful of androids. Until Bishop, who is my next entry, makes the ultimate sacrifice and sacrifices himself. Because he cannot harm or by course of action allow to be harmed any human beings. He's a new version of the android. He gains her trust, comes back as a blob of goo in the, I wish I didn't remember it, Alien 3. But I think he's an interesting, I think he's just a fun character, played really, really well by Lance Henriksen. And it's more about Ripley's journey with him than any arc that he has. But the fact that character creates tension just by existing, because we're all with Ripley. We're just waiting for the android to betray her. And ultimately he doesn't. And you have the fun bit with him and Bill Paxton where he's doing the knife trick that every kid was trying to do with a butter knife in school after that movie.
Yeah, I think he's a great choice. I actually had him on my alts list, but I was curious after what you had said before, Scott, about our winner of the best robot. You have to believe that they are a machine. And I believed he was a machine throughout. Obviously, it's a very well acted performance. I really believed it when he was ripped in half and I saw all of his machine insides. But is he too human? Are we watching too much of a human character? Is there too much human in that version of a robot for what we're doing? I think it is an absolutely brilliant performance. Lance Henriksen, that's the guy's name that played him?
Yes.
Said he played him as a 14-year-old, just a fully faithful 14-year-old, which I thought was interesting because he said that's about the age that he would be maturity-wise based on when he was programmed and built, which I thought was astute.
I would argue that Ian Holmes' android in Alien is much more human passing than Lance Henriksen, only because he's so level the whole time. I think you get a little bit more peaks and valleys out of Ash. And Lance Henriksen, even though the reveal that he's an android is when he cuts himself with the knife and you see the milk that they have for blood coming out, whatever oil or whatever is inside of him. But he does play him. He never gets too high or too low. So that to me is like, once you realize he's a robot, you go, oh, that makes sense all along. Ash is a real surprise because you don't expect in any way, shape, or form that he's like that's the case based on the performance.
And also Ash, this is his name, right? Ash? Ash depends on Ian Holmes' character. No, I'm sorry. Who's
Bishop is an alien's
Bishop.
Ash is an alien, yes.
Yeah, Bishop is defined by Ash.
Yes.
Yeah. By everyone by being burned by Ash.
Yeah. And that's an old model. They were glitchy, which is not actually what was happening. Ash was obviously programmed and given those instructions, which is all the more reason not to trust him. The fact that this new android is like, oh yeah, that was just a programming issue.
And then Bishop is really fighting to save the day after he's ripped in half. He's still struggling to save Kid, right?
Yes. He holds on to her, I think,
as
so that
she's about to slide out the airlock. Yeah.
So, I mean, we can look at that as his primary function to keep
Save humans. Mm-hmm.
But then, we can also infer or project what we want to on that. And that's kind of the function of an android character, I think, too. Is it programming, or is it, I want to believe, essentially is the mantra of an android character is I want to believe they are more than programming.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You get it. Mark?
Yeah.
There's another one.
All right. I'm going to give you one that also probably not going to be our winner, but I wanted to dive back into one that people might not know and not know how far back robots go to before the word robot was even coined. Are you guys familiar with The Mechanical Man from 1921? You know this movie?
No.
The Mechanical Man, it was a feature-length movie, but you can only find about 45 minutes of it now, I think. And it was made in Italy in 1921. It's a silent film. And it really set the stage for what robots would look like in the future. If you look up Mechanical Man 1921, you'll see some pretty beautiful, intricate, almost Art Deco, but with a little Art Nouveau and some Victorian flourishes on it. And that's because this Italian filmmaker got the help of Georges Méliès to come up with this robot. Mm-hmm. So what robots look like now, or at least in part from the mind and the visual style of Georges Méliès. And I'm going all the way up through who's the guy that did the Star Wars concept drawings?
Ralph McQuarrie.
Ralph McQuarrie, yeah. It feels like that is even standing somewhat. And even like Metropolis is credited with standing on the shoulders of Mechanical Man. That said, I don't think it's going to win because having watched The Mechanical Man, here is the moment that The Mechanical Man goes against his programming. He goes to a fancy dinner, like a black tie. He's like 10 feet tall, this giant robot.
Sure.
And he goes to a fancy 1921 dinner. Everyone is in tuxedos. He is very polite. He drinks champagne and smokes and sits at the table with them and flirts with a girl. And when that girl's man comes by and is like, hey, stay away from my wife, that is when this robot loses his dang mind, scoops her up, breaks through everybody, kills a bunch of people, goes up to a second floor balcony and just chucks her off of it. Well, and then it ends with a double robot fight. I think they also said this was the first two robots fighting movie. But that scene is it. And also because it was Georges Méliès influenced, all of the film has been painted. So they're like, oh, we're going to paint the film strip red for this part because it's scary. And we're going to paint the film strip blue for this part because it's very cool and chill. So it is a bonkers movie that I highly recommend watching. And if you don't want to watch the actual scene where he dumps the woman off the balcony, which is horrifying, except that you can very clearly tell it's a dummy. But there's just look at the visuals of, just find some still images of that robot because it's a beautiful robot.
Well, can you tell from what you saw if that was the turning point halfway through the film or is at the end?
The thing is, we don't know. I don't know because it's only like 45 minutes of a 80-minute movie. So I don't know which is also why that movie is very difficult to try to piece together what I am watching. At one point, we're in a lab. I don't know why we're in a lab. Then we're back out on the streets of some European city. I don't know which one. It's a bit like that play Wojciech, where all the scenes were published out of order, and every production of it, they're like, just put them in whatever order you want. You can kind of create whatever story you want to.
It also sounds a bit like a fan edit.
Yeah, exactly. It does sound like a fan edit.
I really want the despecialized version of that. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. I want it sweeted.
That scene, actually, that you're talking about, the restaurant, is in the first 5 minutes of the actual movie, right?
That's his origin story. Those are his parents.
No
those two robots fighting.
Yeah. He's Batman and the weird version of the Joker.
Aww.
No, and they cut out the sequence where it's just 45 minutes of him and a horse.
In a ski mask.
In a ski mask. Scott, what is your next movie robot?
Iron Giant.
Oh, it's so good. It's
going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
Because it is everything a robot is in the movies. in the same movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a friend, it's a companion, it's a danger, it's military, it's the threat.
Yeah. It's of the style of 1957 when it takes place.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, it's a tough one to beat. And just such a beautifully crafted movie, too.
Yeah, and the voice work is great.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, who knew?
Yeah, and then just the simplicity of him boiling everything down to the simplest phrases.
Mm-hmm.
The one I think of course, is at the end when he says, "I not gun."
Yeah.
It makes me tear up just to say it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a really tough one to beat. I'll throw out another one because I know you won't. And I assume, Mark, you might have him on your list. I actually do have Baymax on my list.
Hey.
And number one, another movie that makes me cry. This idea of Baymax in the film, part of it being a tool for this child to process his grief and to stay connected to what he's lost is really, that makes me tear up just to think about it. But also the combination of the minimalism of his movement, of that physical comedy, and then your portrayal of him creates such a complete character. They play off of each other so perfectly.
I'll tell you something interesting about the process of that.
Please.
So I had the voice pretty much at the audition, and we were very happy with that. And then once we recorded a few scenes, they were playing with modulating the voice or changing it, putting a little bit of robot effect on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Lasseter, John Lasseter, was in charge of the whole studio. He wasn't directing, but he was the exec on it. And they would bring him these audio samples of my voice with a bit of modulation, and he'd say, "Dial it back a little bit." And they'd come back with it dialed down, and he'd say, "Okay, that's close. Dial it back just a little bit more." And he said that 7 times. That's it. And it was just my voice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And so what they ended up doing, which is brilliant, is they did modulate the voice in little ways when we first meet him, and then that goes away the more his relationship with Hero changes and becomes more.
Oh, wow.
And so there may be a little bit of robot-y thing being put in post on the voice, and then by the time the third act comes around, it's just me.
Oh,
but it's a slow dial back all the way through.
That's so
What a cool detail. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great character. It's a great character. It's a great performance by you and all the directors and the animators and everybody that put together Baymax.
Yeah, they came to me one day recording this, and we've got several loops of Baymax walking. We have 3 different ways for him to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Which do you like best? And I think we all agreed that it was the baby penguin walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, with his little stubby, very light legs.
Yeah.
I think that's it's such a great example too of in live action but especially in animation, a character is a combination of the actor, the writer, the director, in that case, the animators, all coming together to give us this robot. And there's a piece of writing in that I love that Hal, you touched on a little bit, but in comparison to Johnny Five wants input. And the input Johnny Five wants is, I just need information. I'm a robot who is filling myself with information so that I know every pop culture reference, or I know what people are talking about when they're talking.
Like Vijay.
Baymax, yeah.
Yes.
But what Baymax does is I need to input some information. The information I'm going to input is how to deal with trauma, because I am a health bot, and that is a big part of health.
Yeah.
So you dealing with trauma is, the misguided version at the top of, will this help your puberty, is great. But when it becomes, I'm going to help you get through this trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful piece of programming for a robot to have.
Yeah. He's only programmed to help, and in a very kind of pacifist way.
Mm-hmm.
And then through his friendship with Hero and Hero wanting to feel like he's kind of with his brother again, he trained him to be a superhero, and that's all great. But I think the way I think of Baymax is he's this nurse who gets to play superhero now and then when it's needed, when it's in the best interest of my primary patient to fly around the city and stop bad things from happening.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really
pretty great.
It's really, really great.
There's this great scene when they're first flying together in his new battle suit, and they're just buzzing all the way through San Francisco, and they land on the top of the San Francisco Bridge. And Baymax is saying that he's taking readings of constantly of Hero, and Hero has been sad, and like he says, your endorphin levels are up, and you're feeling happy. And Hero says, so what does that mean? Because danger and speed and taking the risks of flying around the city boost adrenaline, and adrenaline makes you feel alive. And he says your endorphin levels are up and all that. And he says, so what does that mean? And Baymax says, it means the treatment is working. And then he falls both of them off the bridge, and they just free fall down toward the water. And in the last moment, boom, they fly off. His jets light up, and they start flying. And it's really exciting. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, everything he's doing is to make sure that Hero's okay after his brother dies.
Yeah. Gosh. So good. Well, if you didn't do it, I was going to do it, Hal. All right. Who else? Who's got the next one then?
It's you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to look at my list of, okay, this is another one, another category of robot, and that is the technology that becomes sentient and realizes that humanity is the problem. So these are our villain robots and maybe you guys can help me out with this one, because I don't know. I had 3 on this list. I don't know if I want to go with one of my alternates. So I will put this out there to you guys. Help me pick my version of this, because as we've been talking, I've been remembering better versions, I think, of the robot that inputs information and says humans are the problem. We have to get rid of them.
What's the instinct?
My original was Ultron. I think Ultron is an incredible example of that, and maybe the best, most powerful, most beautiful on-screen version of it. But the other 2 that I had were the OG version.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT. Yeah. The other versions I had were the T-1000 from Terminator 2.
Watson, the Jeopardy player.
Watson, the Jeopardy player. No, and I don't know if this one fits. I don't know which category I would fit him in. And maybe this is me just trying to throw a bunch of them out there at once, but I don't care. Is Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner?
Roy Batty.
Yeah. Roy Batty.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's doing it because he's doing it for a very specific version of humans are the problem. Not for the whole planet, but for us short-lived replicants. I think that performance is spectacular, but I think as a version of that robot, I don't know. I'm leaning toward Ultron still as a version of a really well executed version of the robot who sees humanity as the problem and goes to do something about it. What do you guys think?
I think what's interesting about Ultron is he is a villain of Tony. He's the worst parts of Tony Stark trying to do the right thing. So he's created with that specific purpose. Tony's trying to, because he's still suffering the PTSD of what happened in the Avengers, to try to protect the entire planet. So he works with Bruce to create Ultron, and Ultron realizes very quickly the only way to protect the Earth is to get rid of people because they're destroying it. So,
and that's the mark of a really good villain, is a villain who's got a point.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, I remember the reboot of Battlestar Galactica was great because everybody had a different point of view and every point of view was right.
Yes. Yeah.
No villain thinks they're the villain.
Right.
Yeah. And James Spader.
So Ultron is trying to save the planet because that's what he was made to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like he's the opposite of the Terminator in the Terminator films, in that he is programmed to do good and realizes that the way to do, goes down a slippery slope of the way to do that is to destroy humans. The Terminator is designed to destroy humans, but has the opposite realization and becomes helpful.
Yeah. And Mark.
Yeah. I mean, like the T-1000 is, what's great about the T-1000 is he's a perfect killing machine, but there is nothing, he only exists as an improvement on the model that is the T-800 played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I think Ultron is more interesting in that he is created for a good purpose, but for him, he has one goal, which is protect the planet. And then he, with all of his data, makes that decision to do it and then carries it out. James Spader kind of makes that character.
Yeah, his disappointment with everybody else's opinion is pretty funny. And his conversation with Vision at the end of his life is pretty great too.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, even his first introduction, like, I had to kill the other guy. He was a good guy. Like,
yeah. It's so James Spadery, but it fits. James Spader's vibe fits so perfectly. Yeah. All right. Then I'm sticking with Ultron, and I'm going to call that one my last one. I'm putting that out. That's my last.
Okay. That's your last one.
What else do you guys have on your lists?
Scott, you have another one? You
pulls right into another one on my list, which is Vision.
Oh, there you go.
He's so textured and well played and true to the comic, and just a fascinating, outsider view of humanity from a purist who still likes us.
Yeah.
Yeah. If any robot was going to become that powerful, I'm glad it was him.
Yeah. We can all
thoughts on Vision, Hal?
Thank Roy Thomas.
Yeah, I love his curiosity about humanity and his journey to learn what it means to be human and learn what it means to have, like, he'll never be human, but he can learn to love.
Yeah, and his adorable moments are not so twee as, say, Data.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, him stumbling over, like, trying to make paprikash and being nervous, like, experiencing those things are a lot more than... I mean, it's a fun gag in Generation. Generation's the one where he puts the emotion chip in and he gets frightened, right? And then by first contact, he can just switch it off. So the bit's kind of over.
But all the way through the series, too, is like he is... I mean, he Brent Spiner does a great job and the script usually serves it very well. Mm-hmm. But sometimes he doesn't seem like a robot. He seems like a comedic contrivance or just an attempt to be adorable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really come off well for me.
I think that that surface level also, playing deeper than that surface level also benefits Vision in the depiction of love, because for so many of these robot movies, especially the comedies, it's like, well, we teach a robot to love, and once the robot loves, then they are empowered for the third act of the story.
Yeah.
This version it's something that gets checked off a list, and now they have that power. With Vision, it's, I'm going to learn how to make something from the woman I love's homeland, and we're going to have arguments, and we're going to talk about important things and life moving forward and how we want to progress as a couple. So it's an interestingly mature version of love that an android is getting that doesn't usually, or in my seeing of things, hasn't gotten as far as that in other storytelling.
Mm-hmm. And he's willing to sacrifice himself in not a pain-free manner. We've established that he has receptors that help him feel pain solely for the purpose. You could say he's saving everybody, but really he's saving Wanda.
Yeah.
And he needs her to do it. And he's coaching her through destroying him so that he can save her. And that's the ultimate sort of come around for who that character is. I'm excited to see where they take him now. I think they have a lot of interesting stuff to do. I'm excited for Vision.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is he can grow and still be him. Mm-hmm. But I think they're already allowing him to change, which is a great move. I don't want him to get too far away from what we know in the comics, but I really enjoy his I hate to say journey, but I like what they've done.
Yeah.
His Vision Quest.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's coming next. Who else you got?
I got one more. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of torn here. On the one hand, I wanted to do Ava from Ex Machina, because I think that's such a brilliant, an entire film that's basically the Turing test. And Alicia Vikander, that's what put her on my radar, is brilliant in it. But I do think I ultimately have to go with the T-800, just because we start with this killing machine, this unrelenting killing machine, who then gets reprogrammed and learns what it is to be human. And then the last Terminator movie, was Genesis the last one? Whatever the last one was, where Arnold came back and he had been hiding the whole time. I thought that was a really brilliant movie as well. I really enjoyed it. 1, 2, and whatever the last one was are my favorite Terminators. And I think it's a good role for Arnold.
All those Arnold films, is he a different iteration of T-800 each time? There's no
yes.
He dies at the end of each one, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So the one from the second one is different from the first. That final one is that same Terminator if he had survived. I don't think the chip gets melted because the future still happens in that movie. Like they keep, it's this constant sort of cat and mouse game, I think. I think he's the same one from Terminator 2 who's just continued to learn.
Oh,
It's
so
such a
something survived
classic.
from the smelting or whatever he was
From
melting?
From the
that
thumbs
he
up
gets at the end.
going
I don't-
under.
I think he doesn't do it, or there's something happens. I can't remember the plot device. Whatever it was made sense to me when I saw it.
That series has time machines.
Yeah, it's all time machines.
Yeah.
So something has changed in that. But even if you went with just the first film and the second film, you get two versions of the same robot of the model. I just think it's such an iconic performance. It's an iconic machine. Every like relentless killing robot since 1984 has been based on the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right.
So that'd be my last one.
Well, let me go over who we've got on the list now, and let me know if I missed any. And here's my pitch. We each pick one. We each pick one finalist.
Okay.
And then we'll discuss those remaining three, and we'll pick our ultimate from that. How does that sound?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. So we have Mother, Johnny 5, Wall-E, Marvin, C-3PO, R2-D2, 9D9, Bishop, Mechanical Man, the Iron Giant, Baymax, Ultron, Vision, and the T-800. Did I miss any?
I think that's
Right.
it.
So, all right, Hal and I will go first, and Scott will let you go third, just so you can make sure that whatever one that you if there's one that you really want to get in there, that we don't miss it.
Okay.
The guest counts for 2 votes, right?
The guest counts
That's right.
for 2. Yeah.
Always.
Sure. Well, this is just to give us our finalists. Yeah. But yeah, you get as many votes as you want. Hal, who are you bringing through to the final?
Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Wall-E. That was my gut.
Wall-E was your gut?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Iron Giant.
All right. I was going to go with Iron Giant, so I think I will, if I'm going to throw a third one in, I'm going to say R2 and 3PO as a team.
R2 and 3PO as a duo.
Okay.
Oh, man, this is tough. All three excellent robots. We've got the robot who finds humanity in Wall-E. We've got the robot who finds humanity in the Iron Giant. And the robots who get us through 9 Star Wars, quipping back and forth. Cultural touchstones.
2 really well.
2 really well. Yeah.
2 stories really well. The rest,
Yeah. 7 movies.
They're there.
7 stories and 2 masterpieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does feel hard to not pick the Iron Giant for me, but when you mentioned I'd forgotten about that closing line too. Not forgotten about, but you put it front of mind with I not gun.
Yeah.
From a robot who appears so terrifying coming out of the maelstrom at the beginning. Yeah.
So how do we judge this? Is it what gives us most delight, or is the one that serves the story the best?
Man, they all meet so many of these criteria, right? Like it's hard to
maybe think of it like if we have to get rid of the other 2, which one do you want to remember? Which one will impact your life the most if they're still around?
I can't imagine personally, because of the impact it had on my childhood, not having R2-D2 and C-3PO, because they were, Empire Strikes Back was the first movie I remember seeing in a theater.
Yeah, and it's kind of disappointing because it's so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It's what someone who doesn't know anything about sci-fi would say.
Sure.
And
but is that part of the point?
Right. Yeah. They transcend. Chewbacca wasn't doing anti-littering and anti-smoking commercials in the 70s.
No, he was part of the problem.
R2-D2. Yeah, he was smoking like a chimney.
Okay.
Yeah, and that fur, come on.
And then he put them out on 99 at night.
Right on my feet.
You'll serve nicely putting cigarettes out on my feet.
Well, then do we have our answer?
It seems disappointing to say it because it makes us less interesting as people.
Yeah. Well, look, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And we had a delightful journey with you, Scott. We even got to, for the first time, talk with the person who played the role in one of our contenders in this, which is a very fun thing.
Let's just say the winner's Baymax.
You know what? Fine. I'm down with that.
with that too.
The winner's Baymax.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Vincent from the Black Hole?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I thought about bringing that up, but then I'm going to bite the hand that feeds me.
Look, I had Star Crashers on my list. I was sending Hal some terrible. I sent, what was it, Chomps, the little dog from 1979 that
Chopping Mall.
Yeah, Chopping Mall. There's some doozies on there.
Heart beeps.
The fembots that Vincent Price made years before Austin Powers had fembots. And yet somehow Vincent Price's lair, he's a guy that makes robots, but he still had coffins with skeletons in them, like he was hosting late night movies.
He won't deny who he is.
No, he's always going to be Vince. You could have Vincent Price and Glengarry Glen Ross, and he would be like, yeah, bring me the Glengarry leads.
Will you
in
go
an ancient valise?
Catacombs? Will you? I have a question. I mean, I think we do have the answer. Sometimes the most obvious answer is the one, like we just come to it. It's because if you ask somebody, they probably would go, "Oh yeah, R2D2 and C3." But like that feels like something people would gut answer. But I had this as a question: would you say RoboCop counts as a robot, or is there too much person in there?
No, he's a cyborg.
Yeah,
he's too much person.
It's like Steve Austin is not a robot. A Dalek is not a robot.
No.
Yeah.
And may I say about RoboCop, he's also a little much. That's it.
He doesn't want you to smoke. Imagine if he met Chewbacca. Chewbacca would be dead.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
What about honorable mentions?
Sure. Yeah. What you want to throw a couple out there that you had?
I'll say design-wise, I was really impressed with the Interstellar robot from Interstellar.
Yeah.
I think the name was TARS. And just the design of that was fascinating. It looked like it almost could work, but it also looked like magic.
Yes. And kind of resembled they're not Devastators. What were they called from Tron? The giant.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of made me think of that a little bit.
Triumphs.
Yeah, the Arcs de Triomphe that traveled through the computer world. That's a good one. I did have Herbie, who's going to appear in a film, but is not yet released. So, I think the big one, Lisa. Yeah. What about Lisa from Weird Science? She's technically a robot, or is she computer program? She a computer genie?
Yeah, she's a robot. She was like a power surge robot, right?
Yeah,
she's a super genius. Yeah,
is she a robot, or is she like she's just a fantasy creation from like photos of women in bikinis? And pictures.
I don't know how the science of it worked. Really,
I wasn't assemble her. Could you?
No. And she has magic powers. I feel like she probably is not a robot. I feel like people mislabel her as a robot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know who is a robot though? Max from Flight of the Navigator.
Max is a robot. Love Max. I want to shout out Robbie the robot from Forbidden Planet.
Sure.
Because Robbie was a perfect combination of mechanical and there's no reason to make a robot that looks like Robbie looks and functions like that. If you want your robot to be like, those legs are not like, if you were going to design a robot, you wouldn't give him those legs. He looks like the Michelin Man. They don't even bend. But the fact that he has a face that is made out of an adding machine and and he has like one spinning circle up here and one spinning circle down here. And well, sure, but what it looks like is a drunk guy's eyes. Yeah. Also, winner of best drunk robot is definitely Baymax.
He's yeah.
Also a bit Michelin Man-y. So let's walk.
Also very Michelin Man-y, sure. Yeah,
that's right.
I also had the robot dog named Rags from Sleeper.
I never saw Sleeper.
Really? So it's this little robot dog that looks like a dog, but it's very choppy and says, "Ruff, ruff, I am Rags. Ruff, ruff, I am Rags." That's pretty much all it does. And then Woody Allen has the line of, I'm not going to get the line exactly right, but he says, "Is he self-sufficient, or am I going to have to pick up little batteries all day?"
Jeez. Pretty good.
And then another one I had also was Malkovich in Making Mr. Right.
Right.
Who was just a innocent robot that looked just like its creator, and the ingenue falls in love with the robot. And the difference between Malkovich, who seems to be playing himself as the creator, and again, like a child as the robot. It's pretty funny.
With blonde hair, right? Doesn't he have blonde hair in that movie?
Let me ask you this. I don't know if this is an honorable mention or not, because I don't know if this is technically a suit or a big puppet, but those, I'm going to call them puppets in Pacific Rim because they're powered by people inside them.
Yeah, they're mech suits, right?
It's a mech suit then, yeah. So it's not a robot, it's a mech suit.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, those are beautiful versions of digital robots. Like there are some great, I like that Johnny Five was mechanical, but there are some great digital robots out there and CG robots.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock'em Sock'em robots from Real Steel, super fun.
Yeah, but also essentially mech suits because they're operated by people wearing the gloves.
Yeah. You know who's not being operated by anyone but their own programming? C-3PO and R2-D2.
That's right. No people in there. Just ask Scott's
people.
babysitter.
That's right. Actual real robots.
Yeah. Well, geez, people of the world, sometimes if you're sitting there going, oh, it's so easy, like that's the easy answer, sometimes that's life. Sometimes you don't need Occam's razor to figure it out. Sometimes it's just you see right away it is C-3PO and R2-D2. Were any of these other robots on the Muppet Show? I don't think so. Those two were. You don't see Futura from Metropolis on the Muppet Show. Not interested.
She doesn't have a cereal.
You don't see Ed 209 on the Muppets?
Yeah. Telling you have 3 seconds to put me on stage. If only. Oh, man.
Our special guest tonight, Bishop. Yay!
And then Sweet Ibs tears him in half. Best movie robot is you can't have one without the other. R2-D2 and C-3PO asked and answered. Boom.
Boy, I love it. Scott, thank you for coming and talking robots with us.
Yeah.
This was super fun.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah. We'll figure out another topic to do.
Yeah.
We have some idea. Ken, didn't we have an idea?
Yeah. Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Best member of the Fantastic Four.
We'll pitch you best team member of the Fantastic Four, but it's all 4 of us together because Ken is also a huge Fantastic Four fan. Do you want to do that?
Yes.
Maybe. All right.
Or best number between 1 and 4. Those are the 2 choices.
Mark's doing his own episode.
Most fantastic. So there you go.
What's the most fantastic number
will coincide with when it comes out. So we'll get back together in a month or so, and we're going to do best member of the Fantastic Four. So here we go. Return engagement. Is there anything going on right now that you want to plug? Anything you want people to read or look at or anything? The floor is yours.
There's a great film that came out a few years ago, which I was reminded of today, called, there's 2 actually. One is, they're both Asian films, and one is One Cut of the Damned, or One Cut of the Dead. Oh, shoot. Hang on.
Look it up.
I got it here. One Cut of the Dead is amazing, and don't read anything about it. It's from 2017.
Okay.
Don't read anything. Going completely blind. And then the other one is shoot. It's a great movie. Hang on.
We're hanging on.
Going nowhere. I'm going nowhere. I was an extra when they filmed that scene.
I auditioned for that scene to be someone in the audience.
Really?
Yeah, to be an extra in the line.
Like the one is like, yeah, Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was, it was more like Get 'em Bonesaw or whatever his name was.
Yeah, oh yeah. I would have been probably a couple rows behind you.
Really?
On that soundstage. Yeah, that's I remember Tobey Maguire coming and like talking to everybody on a megaphone and
oh wow.
And trying to get near the Macho Man and talk to him because I was such a huge wrestling fan. And it was so excited to get to see him.
I found it. It's called Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes.
Oh, that's a mouthful.
It's a great, playful time travel movie. It's logical. It's seamless. It's airtight with its time travel. And I've never seen anything like it. And it's really, really funny.
I'm
There
down.
you go.
I'll check it out. You were the guy that introduced me to, after the last episode that we did together, it was when you were like, don't watch the movie, read League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So I was like, okay, Scott said read it. And I was like, yeah, fantastic. So you're 1 for 1 on Rex for me, pal.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this, man. This was huge. This was super, super fun.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
Hell yeah. I have so many little notebooks and things written of just like words scratched out and circled and like red thread that connects different types of robots. And now I want to go watch more robot movies.
Cool.
And these.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Is.
Heart beeps. We didn't even talk about heart beeps. Damn it.
Yeah.
You texted me about it, Hal, and I did.
We could do worst movie robots too.
Oh. I mean, it's Roman.
Bicentennial Man. Anyway, who knows?
Just give me a diving gorilla. I want a diving gorilla. That's my robot.
Please.
Oh my God.
Well, that's it. This topic has been settled, Mark.
Yeah. But there are, can I tell you, I thought we were just BSing now. I thought we had, I forgot this was still the episode. I was like, we're just chatting and talking about things. Yes, this topic is closed, but so you can cut out all of me just around.
Nope, that's the whole episode.
This topic is closed, but there are many more topics to discuss. So please reach out to us via email at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com or
find us on the social media at We Got This Podcast, with the exception of Instagram, where we are at We Got This Show. There's our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/We Got This Podcast. But also, you should be hanging out on the Discord. That's where all the cool kids are, and we want you to be one of them. bit.ly/WGT Discord. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, the people of the world, for giving us an opportunity to sit down with Scott and get real excited for weeks now talking about and thinking about robots, getting together and goofing around, talking about the things we love. We wouldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without you. And to you, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows
supported
directly
by you.